So welcome everyone. I'm very happy to have Tanya with us today to lead our session on Indigenous Youth Programs and Initiatives Sharing Circle. One kind of housekeeping item I would like to mention is if you would like the closed captioning turned on, at the bottom or the top of your screen, you'll have a toolbar and it will either say captions or you have to go under the more, and then you can turn the captions on that way. Or I will be pasting a link in the chat right now that you can click on, and that will give you the live stream captions as well. So enjoy, and thank you, Tanya.
Excellent. Thank you, Mary. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful break and enjoyed the youth panel, had some great lunch, and ready for our final part of this afternoon summit. This afternoon session, I envisioned it differently. And so I'm kind of going by the seat of my pants here, because what I thought was that people would join and send me links about their initiative and we could share resources. And although it didn't work out that way, I think that we could still have a wonderful sharing circle today. And I thought how it would go is I would start talking about AMP's newest program and what our gaps are and what resources we're going to develop. And then hand it over to anyone who's joining us here today who would like to share about, an Indigenous youth program that you have running, that you're proposing to running, that maybe you have some gaps with, or maybe you have some awesome resources that you want to share about, or you just want to promote your program. It's up to you if you want to share, or if you just want to be here and listen this afternoon. This is a safe space for everyone, and we want to make it as comfortable as possible for everyone. So with that, I'll start. My name is Tanya Tourangeau. For those of you who didn't see me earlier, I'm the Indigenous Engagement Lead with AMP, and I've been in my role for 2 years now. And really the main thing of my role is bringing awareness more to Indigenous mentoring and the need for mentors for Indigenous youth, non-Indigenous and Indigenous. And at the resource highlight tool sharing session earlier, I talked about our Indigenous mentoring page, but something new that we're doing at AMP that's like right now being in the works is what we're calling our Youth in Care Mentoring Project. And what this project is for is Indigenous young adults who are aging out of the foster care system and setting them up with a mentor to help them with that transition so that hopefully, they stay on their, whether it's career path, employment path, what are their goal that they have coming out of foster care, that they maintain housing and they find their way. Because most often what happens with young adults who age out of the foster care system is they're abandoned by everyone who's taken care of them up until then, because now they're no longer funded through the foster care system. And there's a lot of trauma with these young adults. And so the government has come together with AMP to build a program, fund programming for these particular youth who are aging out of care. Now, for those of you who don't know, a lot of us in Indigenous world feel that our child welfare system is almost like very similar to the residential school system, that it's not treating our Indigenous youth properly, that the system is flawed and changes need to be done. And so one change that we're working on is providing mentors for these young adults. But it's not going to be easy because there's going to be a lot of training that's needed, not only for the mentors who are going to be signing up for this mentoring relationship, but for the mentees as well, to understand the benefits of mentoring, how to develop positive relationships, developing trust, and also for the program coordinators, because oftentimes with mentoring programs, particularly across Alberta, there's only like little pockets of mentoring programs for the 18 plus. So AMP is really new to this area, but what we're trying to do is, one, compile resources that are existing out there, like good resources that, talk about Indigenous culture, ceremony, education, and also, dealing with trauma, intergenerational trauma, brain development, dealing with high-risk youth, pulling all those resources together. So hopefully, when we're done our pilot year, that everyone is better off, that ultimately the youth, the young adults who are signing up for mentors, that they feel they have a valued relationship that's helping them, make good decisions, that our program coordinators, feel strength in the programs that they're providing, and the mentors continue mentoring these young adults. And so right now, what I've done is I'm putting together a list of resources of adult training, really from not only from Canada, but from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. And the reason why I've chosen these other countries is because they have strong Indigenous populations, and they've dealt, like, for example, South Africa, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So there's been great strides in other countries in mentoring this population specifically. Believe it or not, even in the US, they have some great resources. And so what I'm looking for is finding these resources, analyzing them, and learning how we could adapt them so that they fit for our Indigenous youth here in Alberta. Applying our culture, our ceremony, our language to it. And, just continually building upon these resources. So eventually we'll get to, we're not sure if we're going to call it a mentoring framework or it'll be a mentoring model that will assist mentors, mentees, and program coordinators in providing the best experience for these young adults who are transitioning out of care. So far, we've met with Stepstones, which is a program in Toronto that has run for 6 years specifically with this population. And they've had the luxury, because they've been fully funded, to test out many different program designs. And what they found in 6 years is that 2 things ensure a young adult's transition out of foster care. 1, strong relationship, and 2 is housing. So they focused all of their programming about building that relationship and ensuring that if they don't have housing, that they're set up with resources to secure housing. And we know that, I mean, how do we expect someone who doesn't have housing to work on themselves, to, achieve their goals and be confident every day? So I thought that was really insightful, learning from Stepstones and understanding the training that they provide. The leader of Stepstones was really frank with us in saying that research has shown that mentoring for at-risk youth can be hurtful when it's not done right. And I totally understand that. And that's why it's so important that we try to do it right by these youth. And one way we're doing that is we're having the youth at the table to kind of guide AMP and how we want to serve them. So we have meetings set up with various Indigenous youth and non-Indigenous youth who sit on a council. And we want to continually provide opportunities for these voices to come forward to say, what do you need to succeed? And how can we build this relationship better together? So right now on our Indigenous Mentoring Resource page, it's just a start of what we're going to have in the future. what's going to happen with this program is there's going to be 3 streams being offered. One stream, I think that's actually 4 streams, but one stream is going to be encouraging them to continue with education. Second will be career. Third will be like general supports. And fourth will be transitioning them to adult supports. And so like, what do I envision eventually is we'll have our mentoring model or our mentoring framework. And then we'll have resources that support mentors and mentees in whatever stream that they decide. Maybe, we'll be highlighting Indigenous employment youth programs, like employability programs that are offered not only in Alberta, but across the country. Different access to scholarships and bursaries to apply for education funding or training, connecting them to local Indigenous employment and training agencies. And just compiling all these resources so that hopefully the young adults will find a pathway that fits them, and they'll see that mentoring can assist them in really solidifying where they see themselves in society as the new title, no longer are they in care, but they're in control of themselves. And a lot of time for the first time in a long time. So that's a little bit about our new program. I really wanted to open up this floor, and I wanted to hear from you in the room. And I encourage you, if you'd like to share, to either unmute or raise your hand in the reactions, or wave at me. I'd really love to hear about, any Indigenous programs or initiatives or gaps or resources that you've identified in your field. Anyone want to go first? I know, right? It's tough. And I know there's a few in the room who are venturing on this journey with us with the Youth in Care project. So if there's any further comments you want to make about that project, that would be appreciated as well. I love how everyone signed up for a sharing circle and like no one wants to share. Liz, please, Liz. Thank you, Liz.
Hi, Tanya. Yeah, I can share a little bit. It will probably be some of kind of what Tanya shared already, because I was in all those same meetings with you. So yeah, BGC Bigs Edmonton is working as well on this CAP program. So trying to kind of help those kind of young adults 18 to 24 as they transition out of care. It's still very early. We're still kind of figuring everything out and getting everything set up. But that's definitely something that we are looking forward to doing. And yeah, as Tanya said, Stepstones or Stepping Stone, I never quite remember the name, but she had shared just some really wonderful information on what their agency does out in Toronto, and just trying to see how we can use some of that wonderful information to guide our programs. Currently, we do still run the Youth in Care community mentoring program. So that is also for kids that have been involved with children's services. And that program is currently offered 6 to 24. So there might be some kind of overlap with some of those kids as they transition out of care. But so we offer those. They're not all Indigenous, but I'm sure we all know, there's a high population of Indigenous children in care. So a lot of our clients that are in that program are Indigenous. And so we try to do some extra training with our volunteers that are in that program, just on some kind of Indigenous awareness, and offering them some extra training so that they can have those tools to be successful in those matches. So yeah, that's kind of what BGC Bigs Edmonton on the community-based side is doing for some of those Indigenous programming.
Thank you so much, Liz. Is there any questions about our youth and care program? Maybe you don't want to share, but you have a question about our process, our intentions, our training that we're putting together. Yeah,
I didn't actually sign up for this class, but I was so inspired this morning. Sorry. I was a sobbing mess all morning, and I just went, okay, I got to come back to find out what's happening for our youth, because I see those gaps, and I work in a school system, and I was a foster parent, and I tried so hard. When I was a foster parent, I'm also Métis, but completely disconnected because of residential schools and lost all of my culture. And I'm trying to regain that. And I had 2 little boys who were Indigenous in our care. We tried so hard. We kept in touch with their family. Every night they called their mom to say goodnight. We took them to visits. We took them to powwows. And we were dedicated to doing that. We were able to help them to reunite with their family, and we felt like we'd done some good. But we also recognized that that wasn't the case with every foster family, and there were so many kids that weren't getting that. So I wanted to come to this class to see what's happening, what's changing, because I really want to see it. That's all.
Thank you so much, Sharada. I really appreciate that. And thank you for also taking the time to be a foster parent and connecting the young people to culture and their family. So it is so important. Like Liz said, the majority of Indigenous or youth in care are Indigenous, 70 to 80%. And it goes back to, assimilation and colonization policies and being set up to fail as parents and communities, and it's so hard to reconnect after that lost connection. And that's what we want to do for our youth. We don't want them just to end up in jail or end up committing suicide and lost and homeless forever, once they age out of the system. We want to help them be successful and find their way in going forward and making a better life, and hopefully breaking cycles. So when they decide to have children, that their children don't grow up in the same way. Sorry, I'm just getting a text from our dancer who's coming up this afternoon. This topic is really personal to me because I have nieces and nephews who've aged out of the foster care. And it's all around us. I don't know one Indigenous family who's not affected by, children being taken away and being raised in a foster care. And so for me, it was really personal in taking on this role and wanting to find a way to make a difference, but also to help non-Indigenous find their way in providing a better a better home for Indigenous youth. My answer is, for those of you who don't know, our Riverdale office is in the heart of Riverdale, Edmonton, and the fanciest part of town. It's really quite beautiful. And Adrian, who's here, he's like, I'm here, but I don't know where to get in. And is it this fancy house? Can I come in this house? And it's the cutest thing because, most Indigenous people don't know how to get to this location. It's very hard, but it's so humble and not wanting to just walk in and find his place. But he's here and he's going to be set up for our closing today. Does anybody else have anything that they want to share, or thoughts or comments or feedback?
Hi.
Hi, Faye.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you today?
I'm good. I guess you could say I'm affected with foster care. My mom became a foster mom when I was little, and then she raised a lot of kids, and then she became a social worker, and she has her master's back home here in Fort Chipewyan. And then I became a foster mom at a young age when I was married, because I couldn't have any kids, and then things happened, and I couldn't care for the little guy, so I had to give him back, and that was the hardest thing in my life I had to do, to give him back to where he was at, where he was from. And I always think about where he's at and what he's doing and how he's surviving, and if he's okay, and if he's sleeping, and if he's eating, if he's nurturing, if he's being loved. Every day I think about that, and that's a hard thing to do. And I'm hoping back home here that we eventually bring our kids home here. I know that the bands are working slowly at it, but they need it more faster here, because we do have a lot of kids out that need to come home. And now I work at the school here at the Fort Chip Community High School, and we just had this school for 2 years, and already we have close to 71 graduates. We had 41 graduates the first year, from 16 to 70 something year old. This past year, we had 21 graduates. So now we have more graduates coming up. And we do a lot of land-based learning here, a lot of going out on the land. We just finished some moose camps for September, and girls went out and they got a moose. The young boys went out, they got a moose. I mean, it's just awesome. Now we're doing, I think, muskrats, and we did sweetgrass picking. I mean, and I'm hoping that, eventually we get, I guess, foster homes here, like to bring back the kids here. That'll be good to have, or even safe homes for the youth here too, when they can't go home for one night or 2 nights, because of things that happen at home, right? And yeah, so that's my little sharing circle there.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Faye.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, Adrian, he's pretty amazing. I would like to get him to come down and do some workshops here. I think a lot of youth need that. And I know a lot of them are shy, and they need it here. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can provide Adrian's contact information, Faye, for you and anyone
yeah,
wants to have him as a knowledge keeper come in and connect with youth or adults.
yes.
Very amazing that way.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, he did come here quite a couple of times, but I don't know for what. But I would like him to come here and just even to sit down and just enjoy with the kids, just to get, talk and just, stuff like that. So that'll be helping. But anyway, really enjoy your workshops and seminars. So
Masi Cho, thank you.
Okay.
I think what you said about returning to the community is really key in those events that you shared, land-based learning and, going out hunting and being together on the land. And a lot of times when I say land-based learning, everyone's like, we got to learn all kinds of, life skills. And no, it doesn't have to be that way. When I share about land-based learning, it could be even, just going outside and sharing, like a sharing circle outside, just being connected to the land.
Oh yeah, we do have a lot of that here. A lot of young people love it, and it's just amazing to see them smile and enjoy. We even do have, maybe once in a while, the winter hunt or the winter camp, where one of the elders take the kids out in the winter, and they actually stay outside. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, we do a lot of that, and medicine picking and all that stuff, and stuff like that. And we do a lot of lot of the kids that do the land-based learning, they get credits for it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Even more incentive.
Yeah, so we even have, they even had one here, harvest training, where they did first aid, they did boat license, they did trappers, they did firearms. And then they get 1 credit each for that,
Wow.
so that they can get their high school diploma, like, and stuff like that. So we do a lot of that here. So, and the school is, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it's small, but I mean, we get a lot of students, and we strive to get them their high school diploma. So as much as we can. So
And that's key, is
yeah,
trying to get them to stay in school. And mentoring is one fabulous solution that
yeah.
provides that there's studies show that kids will show up more on days that they know mentoring is going to happen than days than it's not.
Yeah, and our school is like totally kind of unique because it's laid back here. It's like when you come in, it's like comfortable. It's a lot like online learning too, and there's teachers here to help. And then like today we're having a pumpkin smashing outside here
Oh, right
at
on.
3 o'clock, and we even have like raffles, like quad, whoever hands in the most homework and the school like comes to school, you get a, you put your name in a quad and you can win a quad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we got donations for that, and stuff like that. So then that's kind of helps the kids, and do a lot of home visits. That's what I do, because I'm a family community educator here. So my job changed. So, but yeah, and try to help with the kids, bringing them the homework if I have to go pick them up, like just to get them, even some of the boys, young boys, they call me sergeant because I'm strict with them, and they're like saluting me, every time they see me. And it's like, I said, well, when you guys graduate, that's what I'm going to do to you guys. Salute you guys, because you guys did it. And I know I'm hard on you guys, but sometimes they need that and they don't get it sometimes at home. So, it kind of helps them. And I know they succeed at everything. So, which is good.
That is so great. I love how you say you salute them when they graduate.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm going to do that with these young ones here. So definitely there's about maybe 8 or 9 of them. So I'm hoping even to get into grade 11, then when they graduate, I am definitely going to salute them. So kind of little thing we have here. So yeah.
And I like how you talk about bringing in other community members, because it can't just be you, Faye.
No, we
it's
do.
got
We try to bring in a whole bunch of people. We just had one Miss Sage Arcan. She came in and did a workshop here about loving yourself. Yeah, that was pretty neat having her here. There wasn't very much people, but some women did come, and I would love to have that more. Her to come back in more. More workshops, more self-esteem. That's what they need. More help with that, like be able to talk to people, be able to ask them questions, because some of them are scared. Like some of them, or don't even want to like talking, like even to ask the help for a teacher, because some of them feel like if you ask for help, they feel stupid. A lot of Native kids do that.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I, being Aboriginal, a lot of them come to me and say, well, I need help. And I'm like, okay, let's go find a teacher and we'll sit down and do this. I'll sit with you if I have to. One student I did this past week, I mean, he went to the gym class. We worked for an hour at the gym, and then we went to science, and he almost finished that module. I just sat there and while he was listening to the teacher, just that comfort, that knowing that somebody's there, to help and support him. And it was amazing, like seeing him do that work and, and stuff like that. So trying to get all the kids here as much as we can to help them as much. I mean, it's positive. It's, I like it. I like it. Everybody has to come down here and check it out.
Sounds like we gotta take a road trip to Fort Chip.
Yes. See our school.
What's your school name, Faye?
The Fort Chip Community High School.
Okay, straightforward.
Yeah. We're planning to change it, but I don't know when, but I think it's called the Fort Chip. Oh, the Mixu Cree is actually the one that put it together. But it's all the bands. So Mixu, Chip Band, and Métis.
Oh, fantastic. Even a collaboration between
yeah.
Indigenous communities.
Oh yeah. Like we would have people coming in to bead, or we're trying to get elders, but it's so hard to get the elders because they're so into their residential school, that mindset. And sometimes the way they present to the kids don't like it.
Yeah.
That strictness. And I still see it a lot, and it's sad. My mom was a residential school survivor, but she turned herself around and she became like a social worker, and now she has her master's.
Yeah.
She taught. It was hard for her being a single mom, but she did it, and then she even became a foster mom, doing that. Single mom doing that, taking kids in and stuff like that. And so
Okay.
I guess that's where I get my love and my helpness, and for my grandma and stuff, my late grandma. So helping everybody as much as I can.
Mhm.
Positive.
What advice would you give to a non-Indigenous mentor or a non-Indigenous community program coordinator about mentoring Indigenous youth, Faye?
Take the time to listen to them. Sit down there and just chat about anything. It doesn't have to be about anything bad. It could be anything about good. It just sit there and just listen, and and then just, I don't know, it's understand them, and then to see where they live and how they survive, and get to know the community very well, because it's hard on non-Indigenous coming in here and then teaching. We just switched from Northlands to Parkland. We got rid of Northland because Northland wasn't doing so well.
Mhm.
Wasn't helping our students at all. Then we got rid of Northland. Now it's Parkland that is the district here, and that's even hard for them to come in here and teach, because a lot of kids here are visual learners. That's how we learned. Our parents taught us that way.
Mhm.
And yeah, but I don't know if reading, but see a lot of elders, visit them and just do a lot of activities with them if you can. Get to know them, joke around with them, go play basketball, go play hockey, go swimming, go to the gym, go even hang out at the pool hall and shoot some pool with them or something, just to get to know them, and just then do you learn their trust.
Mhm.
Big time. Once you gain their trust, then they'll come to you all the time for help, no matter what. Sometimes my phone rings at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll go pick them up. I don't care what time it is. Let's go home. I'll take you home. Or you need to talk or something, and if they're short money for lunch, I'll give it to them. Just help them. And that's what I do. So
Oh, bless your heart, Faye. Thank you so much for sharing so much this afternoon. I really appreciate the knowledge that you shared and your courage of being one of the 3 sharers in our sharing circle this afternoon.
It's a good one. It's a good day today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I could say.
Did this spark any other sharing? Carly, would you like to share? Oh, are you on mute still, Carly? We can't hear you. No, still can't hear you.
You know what, Carly, could you try at the bottom of your screen under the mute, and there's a little caret next to it. Maybe you have a speaker, like a different speaker or AirPod selected. see if that works.
Thanks for your expertise. We'll be patient. No. Oh.
Try dropping out and coming right back in. Sometimes that'll fix the problem real quick for you. Take it 2 seconds to just drop out and come back in, and then everything will reset.
That's a good suggestion. Well, while you're trying, is anyone else inspired to what she did drop out? She'll try to come back. Any other thoughts inspired? Feedback, Leslie?
Hello,
Hi, Leslie.
Bonjour, I'm Leslie Ross. I work at Bent Arrow Traditional Healing Society. I work as a cultural connector with Practices Ceremony team. But I've kind of been with Coyote Pride as well, and they do mentoring in the school. So we go into junior highs and we go into the classroom. So that's fun. I really enjoyed doing that. They had to switch to doing online like during COVID times, but I hope to go back maybe this year to in person. Before because I was pregnant with my son the last year I did it, and they were like, the kids were like, oh, we're gonna like, you should name your baby this. It's so cute. And then you don't think you're making a difference, or they're like, like you're, I don't know, just being there like every week or whatever. I think just showing up every time, it builds that trust, even though you think you're not doing anything necessarily. Because there was one boy, he was just like always like being defiant and whatever, and then at the end he's like, oh, I'm coming back next year, you know what I mean? So even just like little things like that, when you see like at the end of the year they're excited to come back the following year, and I don't think I would have got to where not saying I'm like, oh, whatever, but like if I didn't have mentors growing up, people who looked like me in, helping me along the way. I forget what this place is called. It was by Westmount School. Cindy Zorio used to run that program, and it was like an after school program. And so I used to go there and get help with my homework. But I didn't really do my homework because I didn't like homework, but at least it felt like I had somebody there, that wasn't my mom, that wasn't like a teacher. It was just like somebody who didn't really, you know what I mean? That was like there to help and got to know me in a different way, I guess. Yeah, and just like having mentors, like the women in my life, like if it's my mother or if it's like other, just trying to find those people and being able to like ask them questions, so yeah, just having those women in your life that you can kind of find, well, if because I am a woman, but hopefully like for boys they can find that person that they can go to too, or however you identify too, right? Yeah, so I didn't know really what to expect from this day, but I thought it was really good, and yeah, I really enjoyed myself. So thank you. Miigwech.
Leslie, and thank you for all your work that you do with Bent Arrow. For those who aren't aware of Bent Arrow, they're a nonprofit agency that serves Indigenous community in urban Edmonton in a variety of manners. One of the longest running Indigenous organizations and respected in in Edmonton, and they run the Coyote Pride program in schools. And previously I learned from Andrea Watchmaker is like they bring in elders like we do here today, like with Dr. Leona Makokas and Elder Rick Lightning. And much like how Faye said, you know, it's that connection with community and finding those relationships and bridging the connections with the young people, because they're often so lost and disconnected that they can't make those connections themselves. And so when we can bring those people to the table with them that they get to learn from and talk with and have that connection, it's such a beautiful thing for a young person. And also like what you shared, Leslie, about, you know, you may not know you're making a difference. And I think that comes from mentoring, we've been traumatized as Indigenous people. And a lot of times it's hard for us to say, like, you know, you're helping me, or you're my support, or this is good for me. You know, don't talk that way. And oftentimes, and this was also what Stepstone shared with us, is that these youth will push you away to test if you'll walk away, because so many people have walked away in their life. And it's not that they don't want you to walk away, but it's that trauma response. And they're waiting for you to be different. They're waiting for you to be that support, that consistency. Like you said, even if you're not doing much, Leslie, sharing space, sharing time, maybe sharing a little snack or food too, goes a long way. It always doesn't have to be like this big planned out mentoring experience that we're all gonna hold hands and skip and jump and woohoo, you know, it doesn't always work that way. And sometimes, you know, just some of my best times with my nieces is just sitting out by the river here in Edmonton. My favorite space at Government House Park, and just watching the river flow, you know, having that quiet time together, and where you don't even have to talk, that you're just sharing a little sunshine, watching people exercise and a few boats go by. You know, sometimes it's just simple things like that our Indigenous youth need time with us. Carly, are you still back with us? Did you pop out again?
I saw her come in and then she's left again. So I'm watching the weight room. I'll let you know, Tanya.
Thank you, Mary. Anybody else like to share? We got about 10 minutes left before we go back to our main room and close out with Adrienne. Any thoughts about what do you need in your programs? If you were like, Tanya, you got some money, let's build this resource. What resource would you like me to build? I know there's lots of gaps out there. Tons of them. And I also want to say, like, this conversation doesn't have to end today. If you come across something in the future that is a great resource that you'd love to share with me, to share with all our partners across AMP, please do so. And vice versa, if you're like, this is a serious gap, we don't have it in Alberta and we need it, that's what I'd like also. Because we want to build this knowledge hub from all our partners. You know, AMP has the privilege, like we have over 200 partners across Alberta. We have partners with schools, school divisions, agencies like Bent Arrow, governments, and ideally we're in the best position to kind of be like a center space to provide these services, these resources to support our youth. And I think the more that we could collaborate together to do so, the better we'll be. And I'm so happy to see Carly. Carly, you want to try to share now?
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's like you think after 2 years, almost 3 years after pandemic, I would figure out all this like mic stuff and computers and anyways, no, it's then my computer had to like restart because there was like, anyways, there's updates. Oh my God, just so bad. Anyways, well, just a quick, I know we're like almost gonna finishing up here, but I just wanted to say, like kind of what Faye said. I supported an Indigenous youth in our school system here. And I really did find just like taking that time to like really get to know him at his level, not any expectations onto him, and just kind of getting to know him that way really helped kind of build that, foster that relationship, because he was always the one to come to me about like, hey, he was in grade 6, so he's trying to impress everyone, and right, so that was a big thing. So we always wanted to talk about like, how he can get a girlfriend and all these things like that. So it felt like looking back on it, it was quite an important experience, kind of like working with him and getting to know him at that level, because I know he doesn't trust anyone else at that level. So especially in the school system, where there've been multiple failed attempts of trying to have him get support. So I always still think about him and how amazing he was, but I'm not in the school system anymore, but that's okay. I still think about him often. That's all I had to say.
Oh, thank you, Carly. Thank you so much for like taking the time to share that with us, and reaffirming what Faye shared about getting to know the Indigenous youth and where they're at, and allow them to meet you and without those expectations. I think that's really important for all our youth that we deal with, that we don't, burden them with preconceptions that, what they have to achieve or set goals or anything, that they're allowed to be just them wherever they
Especially
are.
I feel like with like adults, like there's like a preconceived notion of like, I'm talking to adults, I need to be like this, I need to act like this. So like in my practice, I really try to like break down those like expectations and like norms. And like, yes, there's still like boundaries and respect and all, but it's just like that level of what they expect.
Mm-hmm. That's fabulous. Thank you so much. Our final few minutes together, is anyone else have any feedback, any thoughts they want to share about today? Share about your program if you want to share.
Tanya, you said something about if we had money and stuff, what would we do for the youth?
Yeah.
One thing I think would be great is to have like, I know, like, because we have like a beautiful area up here in Fort Chip, get city students to come up here and do actual land-based learning with people up here and go on the land for like a week, and then get them to see how it is, and then they get credits for that, funding for that. I mean, because it costs quite a bit, for the food. I know, because we're in a remote community, gas and stuff like that, camping stuff, and stuff like that, to see that, even for kids that are in the jail system too, like, they don't need to be labeled. Like, I know they get labeled a lot, and they don't have that. They're always being labeled, and if they come out of jail, then they can come over here and do that training, and or what I mean, like get back into that, finding themselves and using the land, because I know it's powerful, and the water is powerful, and the trees, like just sitting there, and you can just stuff like that. Even like with drugs and alcohol, coming out here even for a month or something, just to get clean, and going with the elder out there, staying out there for a month with them, or even spring breakup or winter breakup, and just dealing with it, and then bring a little bit of schoolwork to them, 1 or 2 modules at a time, not just all of it, like just 1 module at a time. That's how we do it. We don't just give it all to them. We just, try to say, okay, let's try to do a couple pages, or, we'll sit down and do it. Or, like now we're opening up in the evenings here, late in evenings. We have a teacher that comes here in the evenings next week till 8 o'clock at night, for students at work, or students, young mothers, or young, or even adults, to come here and do their work or use the computers and stuff, right? So I don't know, I think that's a good idea.
It's a fabulous idea, Faye.
There's so much. I mean, there's so much that, I know there's a lot of help for that. There is financial help for all that stuff, and it would be good. Definitely. Like, Ben Caffro or Prince Charles or wherever all the schools, native schools, or even non-native schools that have native students in there to do that, right? Come out and say, okay, you're going camping for a week. You're going to Fort Chip. You're going to do camping, you know, go out there, learn how to survive out there, you know?
Yep.
I think that's a good idea. Using that perspective, right?
I love that. I love that. I want to share this program with everyone in the chat. That's almost the same kind of program that Faye's talking about, that is being funded by private sector. And Experience Howell is an Alberta-based program that works with NEET youth, is what they're referred to, not employed, not educated, currently like in an education program, under 30, over 17. And their current program that they're recruiting for, that youth have 4 days to apply. It closes October 24th. And this is to all youth, not just Indigenous youth, but the programming is based on Indigenous views, and it's amazing. So for 4 months from January to April, they'll live in Canmore, all expenses paid, living arrangements, food, everything. And they're going to get programming to help them build their self-confidence, communication skills, leadership skills, in conjunction with Indigenous learning on the land, teachings from knowledge keepers and elders. I had the benefit, for those of you who know, I have a side job. I run my own consulting business. I was a reconciliation strategist, and Cooperators, who's one of my clients, supports this program, Experience Howell. And they sent me out there to make sure it was authentic. And I was blown away. The program I got to visit was in Kananaskis. And the creator of the program, his name is Adam Robb. He's a high school teacher from Calgary. And there was a study in Calgary pre-COVID 2019. They did a study and they found out that less than 60% of Indigenous youth weren't graduating in Calgary. And this was before COVID. So after COVID was terrible, right? And Adam Robb was like, well, we don't need to add more math classes to these Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth who aren't graduating. We need to give them different learning experiences. And so that's how Experience Howell came to be. And my first night, I was out in Kananaskis with them. And around Kananaskis is Treaty 7 area. There's a few First Nations around there. And no word of a lie, there was 4 teepees set up. There was at least 400 community members that came out and supported these Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth in this program. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen for a youth employment program. And it was kind of like exactly what you said, Faye, coming out on the land, being connected to the water, connected to the mountains, connected to yourself, and just getting time to breathe without expectations, like you said, Carly, meeting the young people where they're at. And so this is a program that, you know, I'd like to learn from more, but for any of you who know a young person under 30 years old who's looking for something different in their life, it starts after January. And again, it says pay what you can, but honestly, it's all expenses paid. All you have to say is, I can't pay anything, and everything is paid for. And if you want me to connect you with anyone from Experience Howell, and if you search it, I think it's experiencehowell.ca, their website is. If you just search Experience Howell, it'll come up with a little owl in the corner. You'll know you're at the right one. But it's, you know, programs like this that make us think outside the box. You know, all of our programs don't have to be in a classroom. We don't have to do, you know, traditional Western style of learning all the time. We can provide these real life experiences and support for our youths so that they can thrive and grow when they're out, you know, of our care or out of our responsibility or accountability, and try to set them up so that they could be independent and self-sustaining in their goals and their future. That's just one program. You know, please, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, I encourage you to go to our website, at albertamentors.ca. And I'll put it in the, and many of you probably are because you signed up to this, but just in case you aren't, or you want to share with other people who, you know, aren't aware of the different resources we offer or the events, you know, please, we want to grow our community and we want to do better all the time. And the only way we can do that is if we do that together. And with that, I want to thank you all for joining my sharing circle. I'm going to hold it to you the next time you sign up to my sharing circle. You must share. I'll put that in my title. You're going to be penalized for not sharing. No, just kidding. Please stay with us. At 3:15, we're going to be closing out with Adrian LaChance. He's a most amazing knowledge keeper who's going to talk about powwow being a celebration of life. So you got a few minutes before joining the main room. I'll give you those minutes to have a quick break. And thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Masicho is thank you in my language. Masicho.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
afternoon.